Hello, everyone, and welcome to the David Goodman Reality and Truth Show. My name is Vanita Lambert. I'm the host of this show, and I am very pleased that I have an audience to talk to. So thank you so much for joining me. I have my monthly co-host, Dr. Sanjay Phillips, with me. Thank you so much for coming back every single month and giving us
Thank you for
wonderful
having me.
information. How are you?
I'm well.
Good.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. When you came in, we had somebody in here, so I didn't get a chance to say, how are you? And thanks for coming down.
Oh, absolutely. I enjoy coming once a month just to talk and just blah, everything that's going on inside of this head. It just gets to pour out once a month at this table with you.
Oh, so I'm like your therapist.
You're my therapist.
No, I'm only kidding.
You are.
She's a psychologist, not me. She's an organizational psychologist. And today we're going to be talking about, what are we going to talk about
We're
today?
going to talk about the importance of socialization and getting out into the community.
Okay.
And we can target persons with developmental disabilities, but it's as a whole, it's just very important, socialization. Yeah.
Yeah, so more importantly for people with disabilities.
Yes, absolutely.
And yeah, because I'm always bringing up my son because, you know, he has Asperger's syndrome and he really don't get out a lot. And I was worried about that.
Yeah.
And so I said to him, I said, you know, Big J, that's his nickname, you're alone, you know, all the time, and I want you to have balance in your life. You know, now he goes to work, he comes home, he walks his dog, and then it's just him.
Yes.
And we were all like that from COVID, and I think his COVID habits have extended a little bit too far. So I'm like,
Many people's COVID habits have extended.
yeah. So I said, you're alone all the time. You know, I'm not comfortable with that. I want you to start going to the movies and, you know, all these other things. He goes, I'm never alone. I always have my dog. And he plays online. He's a gamer.
Yes.
So he's online. They make friends and everything, but he doesn't do anything physically. So he's still needs to socialize physically, mentally, in every aspect.
Absolutely, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to kind of discuss this little hot topic today, because that's what we're finding. So many people, and I won't go yet with individuals with developmental disabilities, but just speaking about your typical children. You know, when I was young, we had clubs we would go to, we had block parties, you know, we just hung out in front of the neighborhood, you know, around the neighborhood. We had different hot spots, pool halls. You know, things like that when you were like under 21, and by the time you got 21, there were bars and there were different places to go that you would meet up with your girlfriends or the guys and you would all hang out. But today, you know, it's so much different for the young people, and I hear them talking about it oftentimes, that there's no place to go and meet people. So while they're in school, they get to hang out with one another. But beyond the school age years, unless they go to college, there's not a lot that the young people are doing now. They're not just meeting up at the local pub and places like that. You know, COVID saw to it that everyone began to operate in a silo, you know, in their own space, away from everyone. But today, the kids, like what your son said, what Big J said, I'm not alone, because the kids are hanging out in their rooms with their video cameras and they're making friends online. But are these real friends?
Yeah, I could say yes for one situation with my son. I think they have like chat where you can see each other, Zoom or whatever the heck it is on those games. And they have these groups online. And Johnny actually invited one of his friends that he had never met to our house during my annual fish fry that I have for my clients. He stayed the whole weekend. They were good friends. And I was a little skeptical at first. I was like, Johnny, you never met him. He lives in New York and so on and so on. And so I was nervous, but I let it happen. I allowed it to happen. And they really are good friends. But that's not always the situation when you meet somebody online.
Right.
I have I have another good positive situation of online. people meeting online. But there's so many negative things out there that you hear about.
It really
but
is.
you never really hear about the good things. And so people do meet online. They do become friends. I have one of my coworkers met his wife online. He lives here in the States. She's from Bolivia. They've been happily married for, I don't know, 7, 8 years. They have kids and everything.
Are they together, married?
Yes, they're
Oh,
together.
okay. So they live here in
absolutely.
the States.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, they live
nice.
right here in Connecticut. One of my coworkers. So there are a
Right.
lot of good things happening online. You just don't hear about them.
Yeah. Well, in that, the thing about it is, I think that's great. I think that's great. And I do have a similar story as well, with my son and his online gaming buddies. And the same thing, they have actually become friends. But it still feels like there's a position of isolation with them because they don't engage with one another.
Because they're in a room by themselves.
Yeah, everyone
Online.
is
Everything
pretty
is
much
online.
in a room by themselves online, and that's where their friendship is. Now, he did. We gave him. This was years ago when he was much younger. We had given him a birthday get together or something at the RCM Raceway in Stamford. It's like a little race car place.
Okay.
So we told him, you can invite a group of friends, and we'll just celebrate your birthday. And the friends that he invited were these people that he had met online, and they seemed like they were the closest of friends, like they grew up together or something, and. It is strange, but it's sort of the way that things are going now.
It is. It's a verbal bond, and then eventually they meet. It's like shopping. I mean, I just heard a major company is closing 50 stores.
Which one?
Macy's.
No.
Yes. This year, and you can check this out. That's what I heard. So, when we go shopping, I'm like, how are we going to shop? Because I don't like shopping online. My husband does it. I'm like, Macy's is one of the biggest stores, and, you have to notify, because of human resources, that you're going to lay off so many people. You have to
Right.
do that notification in advance to the state. And so that's how I heard about it. So anyway, my point is,
Oh my
it
goodness.
seems like everything is going, well, not everything, but so many things are going online.
Yeah.
Or, through social media
Yeah.
or what have you. So getting back to your point, how does it affect the people with disabilities? I mean, we're just talking about normal people.
Yeah.
Now,
before we jump into that, I just want to say this. One of the problems with everything being online and that becoming our world, the online world, is once upon a time when we had real friends. If I was outside playing with you and you and I got into an argument, I would go on upstairs to my house and I didn't have to see you. Maybe I won't even come outside tomorrow, so I don't have to see you. But now with everything being online and relationships and friendships and everything is so transparent, this is why young kids are being bullied even in their
online,
home.
yeah.
You can't
Oh, yeah.
get away from it because your life becomes online and your friends are the people that are on your social media. And so when someone says something bad about you on social media, it's it's like your world is destroyed because
If you're a child, yeah.
Yeah. Because here you have it, and I'm gonna tell you, some adults too. I've seen some argue.
You're right. It happens in every facet of life, in every job. I heard about it happening in the NFL to linemen, and they're like 300 pounds. So
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, we have a whole lot that's going on right now with entertainers and pastors and comedians, and
Really? Like online things? Like what?
you're not on social media?
Not like that.
Oh my
I'm
goodness.
too busy.
Oh my goodness.
If I get to check all of my emails, I'm happy, which I hardly ever get to do. But I do have a Facebook account, but I have like less than 100 friends.
Well, I'm going to just say this.
Pastors.
Google Cat Williams at the Shay Shay Show. And then call me once you've looked at it. It's about 2.5, maybe 3 hours long, but call me when
Wow.
Yeah, it's, you know, and so now you have so many people that are literally being bullied in their own home, you know, and I get, how do I want to say this? I want to be politically correct when I say this. Everyone has the right to speech, and everyone has the right to say what they want out of their mouth. But sometimes words really hurt.
Words definitely.
Words hurt.
They hurt, and words matter. So you have to be careful what you say to some people.
Absolutely. And so you're sitting in your own home, cooking your Sunday dinner or watching a movie with your family, and now your phone is ringing saying, go on to YouTube or go on to your Facebook account. And so what do? You run on your Facebook account and you see where your name has been splattered all over the place, and people are commenting, yes, Benita is not this. Yes, I met her one time. She's this. And you're just like, oh my God, what just happened? And this is what is happening. This is, you know, and it's hard. It's getting harder and harder. It's hard for adults to deal with it, let alone young people or
Young
children.
people, yes.
Who are much more impressionable by their peers.
Exactly.
And then when you talk about people with developmental disability, everyone with a developmental disability may not have the coping skills to deal with that level of bullying or name calling or you know, that level of disrespect. It's hard. It's hard for someone who has spent their life, you know, dealing in struggles and coping and have a high EQ rating, you know, emotional intelligence score, and you know, like it's hard for them to deal with this, let alone a young person who is still trying to figure out who they are in life. And they don't really know where they fit in, and their most impressionable people are their peers. And then when you go to another level and say someone with a developmental disability who may not have an understanding of how to cope and may not have that circle of support around them. So many times people with developmental disabilities, their circle of support are all paid caregivers.
Exactly. You just have to be mentally strong, and you have to be true to yourself. So for the example you used about people putting something about me online or, you know, smearing my name, number one, I could care less. You know, I really do. And I know how to block out the noise because of the way, you know, things that I've experienced in my life. And I just cut people off. I'll give you enough rope to hang yourself when I see that your intentions are being detrimental to me or hurtful or harmful or just, you know, for your entertainment, then I just cut you off. And that's it. And that's why I have a very small circle of friends and just my family.
Yeah.
And it, you know, most people have to learn how to do that. You got to learn how to eliminate people that are not positive in your life. And you have to understand that it doesn't matter if they like you or not. What is this person bringing to your life that you have to please them or they have to like you? You have to, you know, decide and figure that out. And most young people are not strong enough to do that. I'm like, okay, if this person is in my life and they're bullying me or, you know, talking about me or smearing my name or whatever, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to assess them, evaluate them and say, wait a minute, okay. They do absolutely nothing for me or they do something for me. And I'm going to make a list. And usually the list is really one-sided. I'm like, okay, I don't need people like that in my life. You are who you associate with. You know, you have to surround yourself with positive people and people that truly care for you. And then you have to realize that friends and you know, some family members and, you know, other co-workers or peers or whatever, every person you meet is not meant to be in your life forever. It could be just for a period of time. You know, maybe that person needed you or you needed them.
Right.
You know, so they're not going to be there forever. So you have to understand that and know how to let go. Sometimes it might be, you know, just like breaking up a girlfriend or boyfriend, breaking up a relationship, a friendship. I've been through that. So you have to understand, you know, I'm in my 60s, so I have experiences, bad ones.
Yeah.
And so now I just, you know, I'm looking at life in a sense of urgency where I have like maybe 25 more summers, and I'm not going to waste them on BS. Or
Wow.
I'm not going to spend time with people that don't mean anything to me. I got 21 summers, 21 falls before I'm 85, before my kids started taking my money and telling me what to do with it and, you know, running my life. I'm a Medicare agent. I see this all the time. When you turn 85, you know, I may have my independence up until about then, maybe a little bit after then. But that's a time you want your kids involved to see if you're making good decisions with your money and to double check everything. Not that they have to have full power of attorney,
Right.
but, you know, when I sit down with folks that are 80 and over, I like somebody else there, you know, just for that. So getting back to my point, I look at my time as urgent, and I'm not going to spend it with anybody that makes me unhappy.
Wow.
I'd rather be alone. And, you know, younger people don't have to do what I did. I just broke my life up into quarters. And that's, you know, it's urgent to me. You know, I plan my trips out. I got my wish list and so on and so forth. And if you're not, you know, a positive impact or somebody happy in my life, then you got to go.
Wow. You know, that I have to tell you that what you're saying is truly amazing. You know, it's not, I'm not going to say a lot of people don't think like that because it depends on who you are. You have introverts and you have extroverts.
Extroverts, yeah.
Yeah. And in as much as you are like this social butterfly when I see you around, what you're saying to me says to me that you're an introvert. Because anybody that enjoys spending time alone or with themselves are possibly more of an introvert than they are an extrovert. Now, and so that works because, you know, myself also, I'm an introvert and I can spend lots and lots of time with myself. I say it all the time, I love some me. I love me some me, boy. And so I enjoy that time to myself. But then you have the extroverts that need the people around, that need the social atmosphere, that need companions. And they base their life around needing companions. And so they
Good
will,
point.
they will more than likely do things that they normally wouldn't do to keep a companion, to keep relationships or friendships, even if it hurts them. You know, and you often wonder when you see like these reality shows and you see these women on these reality shows and they're like coming together and cursing each other and fighting each other, and then you see them in the rooms with each other and they're just talking about each other, and then they get back together, and you know, and of course someone like me, an introvert, I'm like, girl, just say
can't
bye.
watch that.
Just go. I'm not even understanding, you know. And every now and again you'll see in like one of these shows, Big Brother's house or whatever, where the person will come in and they're just like, you know what, I can't do this. And they snatching off the mics and they're walking out the door, or whatever, the marriage with the rose one. You ever seen that one?
Nope, because I don't watch those things. I can't. But I know what I've seen like previews.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. And it's one where they're picking a bride. I don't know the name of it, but you know, and they have like the roses and stuff. And every now and again, you'll see one of them just snatch those mics off, and they say, "Okay,
I'm outta
I
here."
can't. Yeah, I'm not doing this. I can't do this." And more than likely, there's somebody that's more of an introvert that I would just prefer to be by myself in my home with a glass of wine and a good television show than to be here engaging with people to begin with.
So maybe I have a split personality. Maybe I'm both, because I'm a people's person. I love being around people. I join all these organizations. I do my fish fry. You know, maybe it's just certain things.
Yeah.
'Cause you got me thinking now.
Yeah.
Which one am I? Am I a mix of?
So okay.
And I love my me time. I'm like you. I love me some me.
So there is like there is this line between introvert and extrovert, and there are qualities in both that we
Okay.
may adapt. So like me, no, I don't, I don't. If I can get out of doing anything social, I would. If I could, like I'm not a person that's going to look forward to going. I do it because I have to, because of work, because of church. Aside from that, in and of myself, no, I wouldn't look to do anything like that. And
I'm gonna have to change that. I'm gonna have to change that, but go on.
and you can very
I'm sorry,
can
go
very
ahead.
well be an introvert and still enjoy the social life, and it's not that you need it, because based on what you're saying,
Oh yeah, I can do
I
without
can give
it.
it or take it. Right. If it's not working for me, I can walk away from it and I'll still feel good. So it's something, it's about that being introvert, being that person that sort of says, I am good with me. And, if people out there love me, then I'll be a part of it. But if they don't, I don't
I'm
have to
okay.
be. Right.
I'm okay. I'll be fine.
But there are people that are total extroverts, and they measure their success and they measure their love based on how many likes they get, how many friends
yes.
they get.
Yep. You're
yeah.
so right.
Yeah, and it's
They need it.
it's very important to them. If they put up a post and they don't get 1,000 likes or however many 500 likes, then they're in a different mood. Their mood is depicted on how many people engage them or like them or push them on, and if they see that this post didn't get that many likes, then they come back and they put something else on there, and they try to gauge the audience. And then what happens a lot of times is they change who they are based on where they are, the place that
The
they're in.
feedback they're getting
Yeah.
from other people. Wow.
There is this reptile, and I can't think of the name of it, but it, like if you place it in a certain environment, the skin will adapt to that environment to act as a camouflage, so
Yeah,
you can't
yeah.
find it. And I always speak about this reptile, but right now the name escapes me. But there are people that are like that. So I am, it depends on, if you want to know who I'm going to be today, look at which audience I'm going to be around.
Wow.
Yeah.
So those people are allowing everyone to control who they are, how they feel. You
in
have
a sense.
to have a certain amount of control over you, whether you're an extrovert or not. You just have to. I always say the best you could be is who you are.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
you have to start with you. If you're trying to please everybody else, you're just going to be bouncing all over the place all the time.
But when you're talking about young people, you're talking about kids, they don't know who they are. When you're talking about people with
Wow.
developmental disabilities, a lot of times they don't know who they are. And I'm not going to say all the time, because I have some of my guys that, boy, you can't give them coffee for tea, boy. You just say, well, are you sure you don't want to? Are you sure you don't want to just go and watch a little of this movie? I'm not watching that movie. I don't want to watch that movie. Well, do you want to come with me? Just let me watch the movie. I don't want to come with you and watch that movie. So some of them are very assured about who they are. And then in other cases, in many cases, they've been led by paid caregivers for so long that they never were taught how to make their own decisions. And if I can give advice to a parent with a child with a disability, I would say, please don't make decisions for your child. Teach them how to make decisions, so that when and if in their life, if you have a child with a disability, it's almost inevitable that at some point someone is going to have to care for them. Unless you outlive them, someone else is going to have to become a caretaker for them.
That's right.
And what you want to teach them is how to make decisions, how to know who they are and what they want and how to say it, so that they're not being led by each new caretaker. So this caretaker loves to party and hang out, so they got them partying and hanging out. This caretaker is in the house, so they got them reading books, watching movies. This one, and each new person that comes along, they're just kind of being led by whoever is in their presence. So, it's important that we help them to socialize, get to know who they are so that they can make informed decisions for themselves. They can make good decisions for themselves. And I'd say do the same thing for your children. Teach your children how, don't make decisions for them. Teach them how to make decisions.
And expose them to different things.
Absolutely.
So that they can have a desire for, okay, I like going outside, you know, in the daytime versus at night, or give them a multiple choice when they're young. Say you can have A, B, or C.
Yes.
And, you know, these are safe, but you can't have D because that'll hurt you.
Yes.
So you teach them how to make good decisions.
Yes. Lots and lots of talking to your children.
And when they become adults, you have to sometimes take a step back and let them make their own decision. As long as it's not going to kill them or anything, it's not really bad. Let them make their own decision, because part of growing up and learning and having experiences is making your own decisions.
The dignity of risk.
Yes.
Allow them their dignity to take risk in life. Yep. Absolutely.
We got 30 seconds left, Dr. Sunji. This time goes so fast. I just love it.
It does. Okay, so I just thank you all for tuning in. Anytime you want to reach out to us, BrysonAssociates.com. There's a number there. Parenting supports. We work with clinically developed, clinically behavioral services. That's it.
And check out the webinars on Mondays and Wednesdays for English and Spanish. Thank you so much. This is the David Goodman Reality and Truth Show, and we're on your side.